No, thank you for being here. I appreciate your spending the time with us, and I look forward to talking to you. Amrita is very important for us. It's made a lot of impact on our lives, and I thank you for being part of it.
Thank you. So, to begin with, where were you born and where did you spend your childhood, please?
So I was born in New Delhi, and I have lived most of my life in and around New Delhi. Um, my dad was in the government service, so we grew up in the government colonies and living in government, I would say, accommodation. Most of our friends and colleagues were nearly the same level, nearly the same age, and we would, just go to the similar schools.
Okay. And when you were younger and growing up, did you have a desire already set up for what you wanted to be when you were older?
No, I did not know what I would do. In fact, I don't think I ever knew what I was going to do, even when I was doing my graduation, post graduation, and schooling. Um, but I was a very driven person. I always focused on achieving results, and that was translated into the kind of grades I would aspire to get and how I could be in the top of the class rather than just being satisfied with what I got. And I was very, very particular that I had to do well, and I would analyze my mark sheets vis-a-vis other children to see so where did I lose out and why the child is come first in class and I have not come. So I was always like that from class second, third, fourth onwards. Yeah.
And when you went through your schooling, were there any favorite subjects that you liked?
So I was very good in maths, and in fact, I was the topper in the country for maths when I finished my schooling, and it wasn't my favorite subject. Let me tell you, I was pretty bad at it. And then I found a tutor who my parents felt maths is important irrespective of what you do. So the tutor, the way he explained the subject, the way he made me practice and go through it, I thought it was a fantastic subject to learn and apply yourself to. And I could never get bored. I could keep on doing sums and solve problems. It was stimulating. So maths was definitely very high on my list of subjects.
Okay. And for the audience, I'm just curious, where did you end up going to college and subsequent studies, please?
So I was in college in Delhi University. I went to St. Stephen's. I did economics, and then I did my management from Delhi. And these are, situations which you just live with, because while I had MBA admissions in other locations, it's just that my parents were not comfortable allowing me being in a hostel alone. And when I'm talking, this is early 80s. So they were not very happy about my moving out, and hence I found, of course, there's no regrets. I went into Delhi University for my MBA. Very good course, very challenging too, but I think we learned a lot.
Well, does it require a special type of mind to study business, or can more people do it, or is it a very specialized area, you think?
I think for people to do business, you just have to be logical. That's fundamental. An MBA or can be done by any person, or BBA can be done by any person from any background. The important thing is whatever you have done should teach you to be logical in your thinking and then bring things to conclusion. That is very important. To be in business, you have to focus on getting results. It's not important just doing a job. It is important on how well you do it. Execution is the most important thing. Many of us spend a lot of time on strategy, and strategy without execution is hallucination. That's what Thomas Edison said. And in our country, we think a lot, but we don't execute. So what we find in businesses today is we are looking forward to a lot of talent which executes well.
Continue on the question about execution. When you look at what that means, it could mean different terms, but how do you define what execution is for a professional to do within HP or other companies?
So execution to me means you have a task assigned to you. You do it to the best of your abilities. You look at the outcomes which are expected from you and you deliver those outcomes. Do not give up halfway. If you see in today's environment, even in schools and colleges, students like to change their subjects. Now, You could be wanting to do that because you discover you don't like what you're doing. But at the end, it's important for us to take whatever task we have to its natural conclusion. We must complete what we start. And I see all of us get into many projects, we don't complete them. And that does not help you do good business.
Well, what if I don't understand how to do something? How can I complete it?
We can ask. There is no way. Failure is not acceptable. Ignorance is not acceptable. And desire of not correcting that ignorance is also not acceptable. If you have desire to be successful, you will go and find out. Even in college and schools, when you're given a task to do and you don't know anything about it, you do refer to books. You do go to the library. You do talk to other students. You do talk to the teachers. That's the quest for knowledge. Today, to say, I don't know how to do it and hence I failed in a task is not a good answer. What did you do to fill up that gap which existed in your knowledge is very important. You have to make the effort to learn and go forward. And I can tell you one thing, Jay, no matter what age we are at, we have to continue learning and reinventing ourselves. What got me here is not going to get me there. And that's the title of a book which I have read, and I firmly believe that's the right thing. What made us successful is not going to take us forward and to what we are looking at. And hence, we have to learn, we have to strive. Learning is from anyone. I think sometimes a very young, fresh person comes and joins my company, and when we are at HP, when I meet them, sometimes I learn with conversations with them. Sometimes I learn from our customers on what they are saying. And truly, if I close my mind, I'm not going to be successful.
As a role model for everyone, but also especially for the ladies that are in the audience, can I ask you a little bit about, is there some different track that has to be taken by women in order to do what you have done, or is it the same as for all people?
I think it's the same. I think young women are very lucky that they're born now, and they have a huge opportunity in front of them. When I was growing up, there was a lot of hesitation on what kind of careers women should opt for. Very successful career was teaching for women, nursing for women. But if you said you wanted to go into the business world, it was like, that's a man's world. Mm-hmm. No longer true. Today we encourage young women to come into business, to look at opportunities which the corporate world has and do well at it. And I think young women are lucky today because the environment to support them is very much there. The rules with which we govern our companies, many of our policies are very women friendly, and every company has that. That itself is going to encourage many more women to join the force. So they are very lucky. However, I do believe there is a boys' school, there's a boys' club in every organization, and there isn't a women's club, because the number of women in every organization still is less. If I look at HP, 30% of our staff is women in India, and in some of my functions it's 50%. But I think we can do far better in some of the roles, like in HP India sales, we have 10% or less as women. So we can do much better there. The women need to keep on working hard to prove they are better. And that's when the breaks come in. To say I will be mediocre, and that's true for men as well as women, if I think about it, Jay. As long as you think you are mediocre and you're not going to excel, you're not going to the next level.